One today for our meeting, and if you turn to about the middle of the page, you'll see the agenda, and that's the agenda which our state deputy has put together, and that's what we're going to be following today. You'll notice the timing is very tight. For the new district deputies, for the former, I'm not going to say old district deputies, the former district deputies, you know that we have a lot of information to cover in a very short time. And if you look at the time, you will see they're listed there very carefully on the left-hand side. And to help with the timing, just a reminder, especially for the new district deputies, there's the dreaded light right there. There's the red light. You won't always see the red light for those presenting, and we have about 13 presenters today who are going to be helping you go through the large amount of material we have. But they know that they're going to get a green light when they have a little bit of time left, a yellow light when they have less time left, and the red light when they have no time left. So we'll ask that you respect that. All the presentations are going to show up on both monitors, as well as a monitor here for the presenter. And with that, we'll get right into it. It's a pleasure to have Archbishop Marcel Damphousse with us, our state chaplain. And for those new district deputies, this is not his first rodeo. He's been our state chaplain before, and we're very fortunate to have him back. And without further ado, please come forward, Your Excellency, and give us an opening address.
A word was mentioned last night about how proud the board is of having so many of the DDs present here for this session, and having DDs for every corner of our province. Thank you so much for the yes you have offered in service to the Knights of Columbus of Ontario. Your service is very important, and I'd like to speak to that in a few words, because DDs are often called upon for tough situations. So I'm speaking as a bishop of a diocese where sometimes we have to deal with different issues, different realities, some challenges, not to say problems. We often call upon the DDs to help out and to make sense of things. And as a bishop, I've always understood that every story has two sides to it. And so this is the key thing to do when you're engaged in helping out a parish council or a diocesan association, or helping the bishop out deal with an issue arising in a parish, whatever happens, to know that there's always two sides to the story, and there's probably some truth on both sides of the story. And so when you come into a situation like that, is really to have a listening ear, and to be authentic in your desire to know what is happening on both sides of the story. And St. Paul invites us, don't quite remember in which letter, but invites us to be ambassadors for Christ. And so we are to be Christ-like in all of what we do, so that people who see us see Christ within us. And so if you come into a situation and you really bear Christ on your soul, in your heart, and in your words, and in your actions, that already gives, for the people who receive you, the sense that there is more than just a human being in front of them, but Christ is in their midst. And I think this is a key component to bringing peaceful resolutions to matters that are before you. Anyways, that's what I try to do when I have to be the mediator between a pastor and his parishioners. There's always tough situations we need to deal with. And this invitation for us to build on unity within our fraternity, I think is a key component if we really want to stand out and show to the people that as Knights of Columbus, we are here to serve the church. We need to be united in what we do. And I guess the most common thing I've seen is division among the Knights when trying to resolve an issue. So how do we create this unity among our brother Knights so that it can also take place with the other parishioners and the pastor and the bishop? Hope you never have a fight with the bishop. But maybe one little word about that. As a bishop, I often don't know what's going on. And I need information. So if there are things happening where you're kind of afraid of approaching the bishop to say, like, this is what's happening, and inform the bishop. This is what we've heard. This is the information we have, and we're looking to your wisdom, your guidance, and how can we resolve this matter? Because many times the bishop doesn't know anything, and so the bishop can't really guess and make sense of things if he doesn't know. So don't be afraid. And if it's not going to be the bishop who's going to deal with things, because sometimes dioceses are so huge that the bishop will delegate people to help him out. So simply ask, like, if it's not yourself, who do you delegate for me to meet with somebody, a representative of yours from the diocese, so that we can manage certain issues that are arising in the diocese. So that's maybe just a little helper here in understanding how we can move things along. But if you're to create this unity among your brother Knights, this invitation to make faith a key component of why we exist and why we're there as brother Knights, I think can really, really help. And Supreme Chaplain spoke about that, I believe, in Nashville in his address at the last convention, about the Holy Eucharist Mass as being the source and the summit of our spiritual lives, in which we find many answers to everything we're called to do as, first of all, as Christians, as disciples of Christ, but also in our daily discernments and choices that we need to make, and also in making sure that we do bring Christ as ambassadors of Christ to all realities of life. And so if you are not one to nourish yourself from Holy Mass, from Holy Eucharist, then maybe this is one place to go and invite your brother Knights and say, maybe this is where we need to begin. We need to find that common ground on which we can walk. And if faith cannot be that common ground, then you've got a problem. But this is, I think, a very simple invitation to make to your brother Knights. So what is our common ground? What do we share that we can all agree upon? And if we're all disciples of Christ, if we're all Knights of Christ and His church, then there's something there that should unite us. And so what do we agree on what Christ teaches us? And what Christ provides through his word and sacraments? I think those are good building blocks in kind of establishing, so where do we start from? And then just listening to both sides as to, so what is happening? And then calling upon the Holy Spirit, as we did in our opening prayer, to see in what way does the Lord himself guide us in bringing solutions to the many challenges that are before us. So those are just a few words this morning to help you in the many requests we will be calling upon you. Your leadership is truly important. And the way you conduct yourself as ambassadors of Christ, as men of the Holy Eucharist, that will bear great fruits in everything you will do. So thank you for listening, and I pray that this long day will be filled with all kind of information, will be inspiring, not one that will burden you with a lot of responsibilities, although that is true, but one where you will feel empowered to truly live out your calling as district deputies. So my prayers are with you, and as a state chaplain, if there's anything I can do, and especially when it comes to dealing with particular pastors that might be a problem or a reality that I usually will refer you to your own bishop first. If there's nothing that can be done at that point, I will come in and help out. And just want to mention that I do have a great helper this year with Bishop Beta as the associate chaplain. This is something new. So Bishop Beta, if you can maybe stand so people can recognize who you are. So Bishop Beta is not new at this. He was already the state chaplain for Saskatchewan when he was out in the prairies. So now that he's working in Toronto, he's agreed to help us out here at Ontario State Board, and we're happy to have you on board. And so we will share the load because we cannot, as bishops, always attend all the events that we're called to. And so in this way, we can assure as much as possible a presence of some sort in helping you out. So thank you for your attention, and I wish you a great day. Thanks,
So thank you, Your Excellency. You know, one of the new jobs that I've had to do is, I heard listen. I heard in your message, listen. And as the state warden, I've had to listen to the requests, I had to listen to the requirements and the likes. And I've learned that our Archbishop, our chaplain, likes Crown Royal and another special goodie. And so on behalf of our state deputy and the state board, there's a little something here, a little sweet tooth for you. Popcorn, Archbishop Marcel. So, brothers, we want to make sure